Hi, I'm Brian Hernandez, and you're listening to The Chef's Corner, where we sit down with chefs and pizzaiolos from around the world and talk about business, life, and pizza. Hello and welcome to The Chef's Corner. I'm your host, Brian Hernandez, and today I have been able to trap Chef Craig Priebe, chef and author, in the corner here. So, Craig, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day to sit down with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Where are you coming to us from today?
Chicago, Illinois, down in the Loop, where I work at in the Loop.
Okay.
Henry Crown Company is a famous corporation in Chicago run by an incredible family called the Crowns. And I've been working with them for 15 years, doing their corporate dining and helping them in their endeavors each day. They need to eat, and they love the hospitality. They're very hospitable people. It's a joy to be here.
All right. Well, we know a lot of friends from up in the Chicagoland area, so I've just made a new one today. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, all your history kind of coming up and what you've done. You got quite a hefty resume here that has been sent over, so that was super helpful. Thank you. I did not realize that I'd actually known you through a gift that I was given by our editor quite a few years ago. One of your books, Grilled Pizzas and Piadinas. You can see I've got some pages marked. But you were also the author of,
You're sure of it.
United States of
Pizza.
United States of Pizza. Two highly different books, really. Why don't you tell us a little bit about United States of Pizza, and then, well, I guess Grilled Pizzas and Piadinas, because that one came out first, right? 2008.
Yes. United States of Pizza came along later, but let's start with, like you said, the Grilled Pizzas and Piadinas, which I really started back in '95. I didn't write the book then, but I opened a pizzeria called CK's Grilled Pizza, and it was in just outside of Atlanta in a town called Norcross. And I opened that place because I just fell in love with grilled pizza. I mean, and I always, as a chef at the time, back in '95 and before that, actually, I was working with the Westin hotel industry, and Westin hotels had been, my home for like 15 years until I got the pizza itch. I really did. I started learning about grilled pizza first from a very famous chef who's passed now. His name is George German, and he's from Rhode Island, and he had a restaurant with Jolene Colleen. They had a restaurant. Jolene is still there, and she they had a book that was called, let me see if I can really remember, Cuisine Rustica. And in that book, he had some phenomenal techniques, like charring a steak on a plank of wood. No grill included, just putting the steak on a hot piece of wood, an ember that's burning. And I started doing stuff like that, getting this really crazy rustic flavors. And he was a pioneer, and he was in the game for a long time and has been credited with the invention of grilled pizza. And in that book, Cuisine Rustica, I fell in love with the grilled pizza recipes. I started experimenting with them, and I made the dough and made the light toppings. I liked the way it was super crackly thin, that there were sparse toppings that were intensely flavored. And I started working with this, and I fell in love with grilled pizza. I'd never had anything like it, and my pizza was so phenomenally good. I tweaked the recipe quite a bit. I worked with it for about a year, and then I opened a pizzeria. I left the Westin Corporation after 15 years, and I opened my own pizzeria near Atlanta, Georgia. I suffered greatly for that decision for a couple years. I actually opened it by taking so many credit cards and getting so much money from loans like that. I opened my restaurant on a whim and a promise. And after 2.5 years, after suffering so long, I remember in the beginning, early days, I didn't know how I was going to stay open the next day, really, honestly. It was a few years of hell. And then I noticed there was a pizzeria competition called Pizza Festiva. So I just started to try to get my name out there, because when you have a business, you got to be involved in every promotion, every contest, every local thing, or every national thing you can get your hands on. I got involved with the Pizza Festiva. I entered a recipe that we're sharing with the people today called the Gambarian, which is a shrimp pizza. I went to the Las Vegas Convention Center, and everybody in the pizza world is using an oven, and they're all inside the the convention center cooking their pizzas in an oven. And I was in the parking lot. I had a wood burning grill, and they said the fire department let me go out to the parking lot in the middle of Vegas and grill on a little Smoky Joe Weber. So I grilled my pizza out there in the parking lot, and I come running in, and I won that contest, and it earned me the title of the best pizza internationally. So when I won that, soon after that, I had so much press. I was on the cover of U.S. News and World Report. I had an article in there, and I was on the cover on the side. But we had so much publicity that I was able to take all that debt that I accumulated over the 2 or 3 years and pay it off within less than a year. It was over like $150,000 of debt. I had people waiting at my door. The parking lot, the smallest, tiniest parking lot that you could see, really, was just filled with people trying to get in. It was like an Olympic event, and it put CK's Grilled Pizza on the map. And then I kept going. I won 2 more competitions after that in different categories. And I just urge people to get involved with the industry, with PMQ, with magazines, with any outreach they can in their industry, because they're going to be getting a lot of publicity this way. And their product has to be good, of course. And I was lucky enough to have a great product.
Well, I mean, you're kind of going all over the board on where our questions are, but
yeah, right,
these are the questions I was going to ask. So that's, it definitely sounds like it's important to compete. It's something I usually ask of people I know who have competed, but you think it's definitely important. It helped you get out of $150,000 in debt.
Put my place on the map.
That's your first book. It's got a lot of great ideas, and they're all cooked over like you said, some just Weber type grills. Your charcoal grills and wood fire. Charcoal grills that you could put wood in and get the smoky flavor.
Yes.
And then there's something this is very stylistic. It's like one style of pizza. Then there's something that your next book was highly different. The United States of Pizza, which actually encompasses all styles, really.
Everything, yeah. Like you said, the Grilled Pizzas and Piadinas has award-winning recipes from my restaurant. And when I started working for the Crowns, I was able to write that book and include that stuff. And it was like a synopsis of that restaurant. But the United States of Pizza is really a book about my passion for all things pizza and all types of pizza. I spent a lot of time researching throughout my life, way before I opened CK's Grilled Pizza. I've always been a huge pizza fan, and I've tried to eat pizza everywhere I go. Before I was a pizzeria owner, pizza was a huge passion of mine, and it has been forever. So the United States of Pizza is my research and my lifelong pursuit of pizzas all over the United States, because it is a gift that was given to us, and it's from Italy, but America really made pizza so many different things. We took it a lot further than Italy has, which is fine. There's always a great place for tradition and for things that are constant and stay the same, but that doesn't happen in America. And pizza is a universal food, and that's what so intrigued me about it, is that it takes so many forms. There are so many different forms of pizza, and my research and my love for that culminated in the United States of Pizza book. All the recipes in there are recipes that I found in pizzerias across America, but I emulated. I made the recipes myself. I experimented and made the recipes. I didn't get recipes from the pizzerias, but there are all my own recipes, and they have to go and make these pizzas come alive.
They're inspired from all these different regional
yes.
pizzas.
So inspired by pizzas across the U.S. It's passion. There's a lot of fun out there.
Okay. Well,
I wrote about it.
Yeah. So at CK's, I guess, what was it? CK's Wood Grilled. So did you guys do like a wood-fired oven, or was it over a like? Have you ever been to the Weber Grill? Everything's cooked on just giant backyard grills. Did you guys cook it like that?
I have my grilled pizza restaurant. I had 3 large Montague flat. They're iron grills, wood fire pits. The kind of pit that you find in a lot of these mesquite wood grilled places where they cook fancy steaks and tails and fish, where it's a large iron grate in a fire pit, and they're usually about 4 by 3 feet, and I had 3 of those, so I was able to cook like 12 pizzas at a time over a natural wood fire. And at my restaurant, I always used hardwood charcoal, which is a natural charred wood. And there was the drawback of using a lot of hardwood charcoal is you have to have a tremendous storage space for all that fuel, because I used to get like 20 bags a week. These are 40-pound bags, and so it's a huge area. It's very dirty, and it's a lot of work to maintain 3 large wood-burning grills all night long. Well, so it was a good training curve for everybody, but it was the way to go. It was a special, all rustic way to go, and I insisted on real wood.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it has a flavor, but it also sounds like you get half the life out of it because it is charcoal. It's already half burnt. When you're getting it, right? That's how you're getting it. Is like
it's that charred lump coal. Yeah, it burns real evenly. It burns real hot. You have to use a lot of it, but it is actually the best way to grill pizza. Although now, I always fire up the gas grill, and it's nice to cook over gas because it's easy and convenient. It's even heat. There was, controlling a wood fire. As a lot of pizza people, you have wood-burning ovens. No, it definitely is a lot more labor, and it's a lot more work, and you have to have some skill.
Yeah, I just think of one of my favorite shows, King of the Hill. Propane and taste the meat, not the heat. So, all right, well, I'm just trying to keep up with how we're going with this natural conversation here. So I'm going to just go back to what is usually our first question. I'm just, I'm really glad we got some of that stuff out of the way to let people know who you are and why I'm sitting here talking with you today. But what is your earliest pizza memory, like from childhood? What is the first thing you remember about pizza?
Well, my grandmother, she's from Tuscany. She grew up in the Lupa area, and she has always been a huge inspiration to me. She just passed at 102 last year.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
My grandmother from Tuscany. Well, that's a good long run. So we celebrated her life immensely, as I always have. Her pizza, even though she was from Tuscany, and she claimed to not like Sicilians. I don't know why, but she made a Sicilian style pizza, and it was a thick bready pizza with limited sauce and cheese, and usually had things like rapini on it, and it was delicious and had those bitter greens on it. And that's my earliest pizza memory. My grandmother made pizza. She made polenta. She made ravioli. She made robolini. She made lots of different appetizers like crostinis and fried salmon and fried cardoni. And she inspired me to cook as a young child. I used to cook with her, including making pizza when I was just 4 or 5 years old, and that was really important to my search for food. Italian was my first love. Italian foods.
Okay, so a rapini Sicilian pizza is basically, which rapini is
good today. I love that with a lot of sliced garlic.
Yeah.
All over it. Oh, freaking.
Basically broccoli rabe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's the same. It's rapini in Italian.
That's awesome. I like that. I like broccoli rabe. I've made one of those pizzas before.
Love it. So good.
All right. Well, so it sounds like you did pretty well with CKs before you moved on to the bigger and better things. Just as far as like opening a restaurant and stuff like that, what are some of the hardest hurdles to overcome in starting a pizza place or a restaurant that you could maybe tell people about?
Well, just getting notoriety is huge, and getting real cred. Like street cred where people love you. That's the hardest thing to develop. It doesn't happen instantly. Yeah. And it has to be done on a grassroots level, I think, in almost every way. Where you're out with the community and you're participating in events. Either it's the shows that like during the summer, there's art shows or fests that you can get involved in, or like Taste of Chicago or Chicago Gourmet, or competitions like Pizza Festiva or the Mid-American Pizza Competition. I won that too. And so those contests are so important for a new business. Especially if you're starting off, get involved in the local stuff, in the national stuff. And you have a lot of guerrilla work to do. It's about being on the street, about being out there with the people. And if you don't do that, you just try to purchase a bunch of coupons and send them all over. That's very impersonal. And I think the biggest hurdle is to develop a personal relationship with your local people, and get them to really believe in you. Get all those mouths talking about you. That's hard to do, but you could do it if you're really proactive. And that's really super important.
Okay. That's a good answer. I like that one.
Thanks.
Where did you mess up? What was one thing you did that you, in hindsight, you want to warn others about, be it the $150,000 in the credit cards or
overextending? It's very dangerous. And my wife tells me I always make this mistake when I play Monopoly, because I spend all my money on stuff. I buy things. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to make this. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to get a bigger restaurant. I freaked out. I messed up when I went from a tiny restaurant to a huge restaurant, and it was way too much for me. I was overextended, and that's so dangerous, because you don't need what you think you need. You really need less than you think you need. And smaller place, I think it even draws more people in. When you have people waiting outside your door because they can't fit in the place, that's better than a big place where there's a couple people waiting, or there's too much room, every square foot costs you a fortune.
And there are empty
that's
seats.
So dangerous,
Yeah.
And that's what that brought my restaurant down. Overextending. And then you think, especially if you're on a roll, like I was for a while in my pizzeria, I was on a roll. Everything was happening so great, and I overextended. And then all of a sudden 9/11 hits, and everything isn't so great, and everybody's screwing up. There's nobody going out to eat, and you're overextended. You got to stay in tune with what's going on and not overextend.
It's like you said, it's better to have people waiting outside to get in versus having to pay for all that square footage and the seats.
That's advertising.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was going to ask, what's one of your biggest successes, but it sounds like, jumping in competition and having a good product, is that it? Or was there another thing that you would, something that you were very successful at that you think people could benefit from knowing to apply themselves?
Yeah. Not trying to do too much. Pick something that that you're passionate about, and do one thing. Don't try to make your menu too large and try to serve. I didn't do soups. I didn't do pastas. I did pizza only, and I did some sandwiches, which were important, and some grilled Jamaican wings. I made my wings a little different. Try to have a niche. Try to make your product personalized, what you really love and believe in. Do that, and people will follow. You don't have to do everything, and that's so important. I remember I had about 15 pizzas on my menu, and 3 sandwiches, and some wings, and I made homemade root beer and homemade lemonade.
Oh, wow.
that stuff, when you do that, it just says, wow, they have something so special that people are going to remember, they're going to come back, and they can get the other stuff somewhere else. Just do what you do best.
All right, there you go. I think it boils down to that. Do what you do best and forget the rest, right?
Yep.
All right, so what inspires your recipes? Now, I know we had talked about, you visiting all these places in the United States, kind of getting inspiration for the book recipes there, but where you're working now, what in your current position, do you sit down one day, just think of an ingredient and try to work with that, or do you just get hit by something else?
Where I work now, I take care of a lot of high-end dining, and a lot of people who, are very influential in the world. And my food is generally really healthy. I like to keep a lot of variety in my cooking. Daily, my menus really are dictated by what I feel like doing, even though I've never told what I need to do. And I love that. I'm told that so-and-so is coming, we're going to have a big meeting, and you need to prepare lunch.
Okay.
So, but after that, I pretty much let my passions and my interest, because I read a lot of publications about food. My passion for food has never waned my entire life. So I'm always interested in ingredients, and I like to draw on what I like. Mm-hmm. And I prepare food in a simple way using excellent ingredients. And each day is a little bit different, which I like. I don't have a set menu in my field right now. I make what I want, and it includes pizza. We have pizza parties. I've made pizza for Barack Obama, grilled pizza. He loved it. We have a lot of important people here. I enjoy what I do immensely. Okay. So I let my enjoyment sort of dictate what's going to be on the menu.
Well, that's good. It's like you said, it gives you the freedom, not being told what to do. They trust you to do what you do.
Yeah,
that's
really
always
good.
Nice. So speaking about ingredients, then, what is your personal favorite ingredient that you like? If you're stuck on an island, that's the only thing you get.
Gosh,
that's it.
I don't know that there is just one ingredient.
A lot of people are saying that, but you guys, there's one. If you have 5, pick one out of that and kiss the others goodbye.
I love fish.
That's a
if I was stuck on an island, that would be a good place.
Yeah, and that's cheater too, because there are so many fish. But I'll allow it. Fish.
I love seafood. I love white anchovies.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh God, they're so good. And not everybody loves that. That's not stuff I would put on the menu for everybody.
Right.
But you ask me what I like.
No, exactly. It's like, what do you like? So, seafood in general. White anchovies popped out real quick.
I love them.
any other seafood items that kind of top your list?
Octopus. It's delicious. Marinated fish. Like, I have a really cool pizza called the Lomi Lomi pizza, which I developed when I was in Hawaii. I did a TV show for public television. Channel 11, I did a TV show called Flavor Hunting, and it was so much fun. And at the beaches of Kona, Hawaii, I made a Lomi Lomi Mahi Mahi pizza, and this was a cured fish, which is one thing I just love to do is cure seafood. Like you would cure ceviche or cured smoked salmon. And Lomi Lomi is a massage from Hawaii, but they call the fish dish Lomi Lomi because you take habanero peppers and lime, and you massage it into thin slices of mahi-mahi.
Oh, okay.
Mahi-mahi is then, I made a terrific pizza for public television. And it had caramelized pineapple, so it had that delicious sweet and butteriness. And it was on my grilled pizza crust. And then I put those spicy cured pieces of fish, Lomi Lomi Mahi-mahi, and then shaved green onions, cucumber, tomato, carrot, cilantro, all over it. So it's just like a big fresh party with cured spicy fish. Things like that. The flavors, they pop in your mouth. You've got the acidity, the sweetness, the heat, the saltiness, the char, all that stuff. That was, I love doing that. I know I'm off topic again. But,
well, no, I'm just saying it sounds like seafood can be a good canvas for.
Oh, I just love it. Seafood pizzas are huge. It's so important to have a seafood pizza on your menu. Find a seafood that you can do effectively. That won't. That's not gonna. You can have good seafood that's frozen. You don't have to let it spoil. You can be careful about your portion control because seafood can be heavy on cost. And but it really is something that people are looking for. I think you should have a seafood pizza. One of my favorite pizzas is that white clam pie from Pepe's. My God, is that good? I love seafood on pizza.
Well, let me ask you not kind of an off-topic question because you mentioned that the massage tuna pizza had some limo or lima. What was it?
Lomi Lomi.
Mahi.
Mahi.
Okay, so you said that it had some caramelized pineapple in there.
Pineapple.
Now in Hawaii, I know pineapple.
Right?
This is a giant debate here. It's like
I know.
Up in Hawaii, I would assume it's probably a little more accepted. But I mean, even like
Hawaii,
Yeah. Okay. So this discussion probably doesn't have as much traction up there, or down there.
There's nothing wrong with pineapple on pizza. Number one, I think pizza could be whatever it is. You could put anything on pizza. It's a canvas, and the more combinations you can come up with that complement each other, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And there's a lot to be said for tradition, and I love tradition. There's probably the best pizza in the world is the margarita pizza, but it is the best. It's the basic. It's the best. But you can't stop there. And there's nothing wrong with pineapple on pizza. And you put it on fresh, it's okay. I don't like it that way because the water tends to run out and make things a little soggier. But if you take that pizza, pineapple, and caramelize it with some olive oil and a little bit of sugar, you're removing all that moisture. You're tightening those little fruit, pieces, and it's going to stay intact. And you're developing a glaze on your, and it doesn't make your crust soggy. It makes it absolutely delicious. You have that sweetness,
Well, yeah, like you said, it's about how you use it, and that's why I always say too is that pizza is a blank canvas. Pizza can be whatever you want it to, so it really depends on who's eating it, and who's making it too, as to whether or not something is allowed. And we are all entitled to our opinion. That's what's so great about this country. So, all right, moving on then. Now that we've got that, hot topic out of the way. And kind of on the same subject here, what's one ingredient that you will never use, that you absolutely hate? One of your employees shows up and it's in his lunchbox, you fire him on the spot. He's gone. He's out the door.
There is no such thing.
No? Okay.
No. There would have to be spoiled food. I would never use anything that's not wholesome. I don't think there's any ingredient that's off the charts.
Okay. Well,
I love food, and it depends. Every food deserves a chance, and it should be paired with things that are complementary for it. And I think that's infinite. I think you can always do something with things. That
there isn't one I wouldn't use is a valid answer. But let's just say there's one thing that you will never order personally that you don't like to eat. That you would never put on a pizza personally if you're making it for yourself for lunch.
Wow.
I mean, it could be mayonnaise. It could be.
Tough one, man. I have a lot of different tastes. I might put anything on a given day. But, I'm drawing a blank here.
That's fine. Like I said, the first answer was a valid answer, so I'll give you a pass on that one, Craig. But this is another ingredient question. This is our final one, but it's what's one that you don't currently use now where you're working that you might want to you've got your eye on that you want to start incorporating or playing around with recipe-wise?
The cool thing about where I work is there's no reason I can't get anything.
Mm.
I have access to whatever I want in the world. Basically, it's wonderful to work where I work right now. I have complete freedom, and there's nothing I can't get. There are things that I'm starting to be interested in, and I think I do have a love for things that are sweet and spicy, and I love this. This is pear mostarda, and it's delicious. It's a delicious condiment, actually.
What is it, pear mustard?
It's pear mustard, but it's more of a glaze. It has lots of...
Did it hit your laptop?
Yeah.
If we lose Craig, it's because he's got pear mustard in his laptop.
And the pear mustard is so delicious. It has a spiciness, a mustard flavor, but it also has a sweet and pear flavor. It's fantastic. I would like to put this on pizza. I've just been using it recently to glaze a little fish with, or I glazed some fish with this the other day and served it with some fava beans. So it's delicious. But like, this would be so killer on pizza. Pear, sweet. I like sweet flavors on pizza for sure. I love Asian flavors. Another thing I really love is this fermented red tofu. And this is, I won't open this one so I don't spill it, but this is pretty much chunks of tofu that are fermented with chili spices and tomato.
Okay.
And it's an Asian product. And as you can see, but this you can put in anything and make it taste better. I mean, I don't care what it is.
All right.
This stuff is one of the best ingredients. Soups, marinades, meats, killer, just glazed. I could put this on pizza. I'd put chunks of this on pizza, maybe with some chicken and maybe some baby corn,
right.
some mushrooms like shiitakes. But I love Asian flavors, and this is a spicy but mellow umami. This is like an umami bomb. This fermented tofu. It's unusual, but it's really, it adds something you can't even put your finger on to recipes. You putting it there.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah, those are good answers. I mean, it sounds like you're starting to play with them and thinking about what you can do bigger and better in the future with them. So the next question was going to be, is like, one thing, what would you add or change about your menu? But it sounds like you have the freedom to kind of do that already. So,
yeah,
I mean, there's nothing.
My menu changes every day.
Okay. So there's nothing really holding you back currently. It's what you want. Anything goes. Shoot the moon. Exactly.
That's a great way to go.
All right. Well, with all this talk about ingredients and recipes kicking around in your head, we're going to start the dreaded
Scott Wiener's lightning round.
Thunder. So this is he was the first one to do this. Basically, I'm going to give you a 3 different ingredients. I don't know exactly. I don't know what your menu is there at the Crown Building, but I try to get stuff that I would think you have actually tried before. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but that's honestly, that's what the game's about. So just live with it.
Okay.
Awesome. So first one I want to give you here is black-eyed peas, and I kind of went real flavors and barbecue stuff, just from your grilled pizzas. So what would you do with black-eyed peas? Now, we prefer a pizza type recipe, but it could be any kind of dish, honestly.
Yeah, I want to combine that with spicy sausage. Black-eyed peas and chorizo would be killer. Okay. Black-eyed peas and a linguiça sausage. Something with some kick to it. Maybe some lamb, black-eyed peas and lamb, ground lamb, like prepared with oregano. It's kind of spicy. Spicy meats and a good amount of fat with beans like that. Maybe some greens to go with it. Maybe a few, maybe even some rapini.
So on a pizza, you think like a spicy sausage, black-eyed peas, and broccoli rabe top?
Yeah, that would be good. With sliced garlic.
No, it does sound good, honestly. I would eat it. Again, keeping with the barbecue grilling theme, beef brisket. What would you do on that? I mean, you can do a lot of stuff with that pizza-wise, but I mean, I'm looking for the complementing flavors, not just to say, oh, I put it on pizza. So
yeah, I'd like to make like a char siu, a beef brisket char siu, and get that beef really pink, get a really hard pink rind in, that inner ring, that pink smoke ring in there, and then glaze it with almost like a sauce you put on Peking duck, and that would include this red tofu. Like, you would include this in a glaze over that brisket and get a little bit of Asian flavor on that. instead of just a barbecue flavor.
Okay.
And then put that on a pizza, maybe with bean sprouts, cilantro, that kind of thing. Maybe again, baby corn, maybe black beans. I really think the brisket would go good with some garlicky black beans with an Asian glaze and some baby corn and sprouts. That sounds freaking great.
Yeah. See, this is why it helps, because now you could be writing this stuff down too, Craig. I'm here to help you.
I'll remember.
Help me, help you. All right. Well, I had sorry, man, I had a phone call. I had one thing that I was going to ask you, and I'm debating whether or not, because you've already kind of answered it. It was going to be octopus. So you've really already told us that. What would you do with finger limes?
I love finger limes. That I would put it on top of a fresh seafood pizza. I like to squeeze out that like caviar, and that goes on last. You make a delicious, a thin crust grilled pizza with butter. I would not use olive oil, because I think the butter and the finger limes really form this delicious limey butter flavor. Maybe some. Again, I just love fresh cilantro, but I'm trying to get away from that. Another herb that goes good with finger limes would be tarragon. I think it sounds like it would clash, but it definitely goes well with it. And finger limes with that touch of citrus and that hit of acidity absolutely gives itself to lobster. I love lobster on pizza or shrimp, but I'd prefer lobster with finger limes and butter. And boy, you're almost there right there. Yeah, I mean, lobster, butter, grilled pizza, finger limes, thin sliced red onion, fresh, not cooked, just sprinkled on top.
Mm-hmm.
Keep a fresh topping, maybe some really thin shaved, like baby greens like mash, put on at the last moment. Finger limes are good, man.
Wow. That is a good one there too. And I mean, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm not a seafood fan. Just something from childhood made me not a fan. And, but I'm getting back into it. And I try it, as a chef's supposed to do. I'm going to try everything. That
finger limes are great. Delicious. Chicken too. Chicken is great.
Yeah. Well, that pizza you just described, I would totally eat that. So congratulations. But yeah, that's, I guess congratulations are in order. As again, we say we have no losers in the Scott Wieners lightning round, but you won. So
it was fun.
I will be sending you your prize, this outdated dollar thing from the Palms Resort and Casino. It's good for the roulette table, if you can get it.
Thank you.
Oh, it's gone. I'm sorry. It's already gone. It's on its way. So expect that in the mail.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. No, thank you for all the great ideas. It's always interesting. We love to see how a chef's minds work when they're given something that they don't know is coming. It's a spontaneous creation of flavors in your mind is what this is all about, honestly, for me.
Cool.
So now we can move on to this recipe that we're going to get for the Chef's Corner. I wanted to ask you a little bit about it now.
Bless you.
Sorry about that. That one came out of nowhere. So now we're going to move on to the recipe questions. This recipe that we're going to get for the Chef's Corner that'll go in the in PMQ Pizza Magazine, and also have an accompanying a how-to video. So I'm going to have to teach these guys how to make it. So that's why I want to talk to you, so you can teach me and I can teach them. Now this is you said it's the Gambarian, and it is in the grilled Piadinas pizzas and Piadinas book. Yeah. Now basically it's just a grilled pizza with some shrimp on it. That's very basically. It looks like there's a whole lot more stuff going on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this? And this is the award-winning. This is your first competition win. Yes,
this won the big award, and it's been one of the favorite pizzas I've served everywhere I serve pizza.
Okay.
And it's because the flavors are familiar to people. The flavors are basil pesto and fresh tomato sauce, and those go so well together because the basil pesto has that sort of that umami flavor that is sort of a base, delicious herbal, kind of like it's not a bright flavor. It's a fatty flavor. It's delicious. And when you pair it with a bright tomato sauce, that just punches it, keeps it going. You know, with my tomato sauce on the Gambarian, and the one I make for most of my grilled pizzas is not cooked. It's chopped fresh beefsteak or big fat red tomatoes, you know, like vine ripe tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Big fat red ones they have to be, because it's all about the tomato, and it can't be a pink underripe tomato. And you chop them, and then you just mix them with fresh basil, and then I fold in some tomato paste and add salt and pepper, and that's it. And it's a simple sauce, but it doesn't need much more than that. It develops, it's like a salsa, really. And the flavor of that paired with basil pesto and the cheese that's in the pesto, it's just, those two go so well together. And then to put big pink shrimp, I like to have them look beautiful on a pizza. I put them on whole so you can really see the shrimp on a pizza, and grill it over a very thin crust with the char flavor and the smokiness. That's what the Gambarian is about, and that's why it's been so popular. People love those flavors. It's an Italian pizza because the Gambarian is named from the word gamberi, and that's the Italian word for shrimp. So that pizza has been so good to me. It's been real popular wherever I serve it, at caterings, at my restaurant, at meetings.
Okay, so this was what was the inspiration for this recipe? Was it that you were going to the competition, or is it something you already had?
It was for a competition. I developed a lot of recipes because I was going to be in competition, and everybody should do that when they're thinking about getting into a competition. They got to develop their own thing, you know, something that's a new recipe that people haven't seen before. You just have to work it out. You have to work on a couple dozen ideas and then narrow it down to what you like the best. Spend some time researching and making lots of exciting things, and then whatever really hits those buttons, that's the one you go with. And that was the Gambarian. You know, I wrote it. I made that recipe just for the Pizza Festiva competition.
Okay. So, just I'm looking at the picture here in the book, and it's on obviously in like a kettle grill on a grate. Would this work with wood in there or charcoal, or do you? I think you would obviously recommend wood.
You can cook it over any type of grill you got, you know, and it cooks well over gas. It cooks great over Kingsford charcoal. Grilled pizza will work well over hardwood charcoal is my favorite. I like the intense heat. You want to start with a high heat and then lower the heat. And that's what's important. So any way you can do that works.
Does the high heat kind of shock the dough into cooking and forming, and the low heat lets the ingredients
exactly, yeah,
get melted and cook?
You have to be a little careful about the amounts of things you put on. And I think that's important in every style of pizza. Just to have the right amount of ingredients, and so that your pizza heats up right through it, you know, and without overwhelming the whole thing.
How often do you come up with new recipes? I mean, and it sounds like you are free to do what you want. Craig Unleashed in the kitchen. I mean, are you doing that quite often, or do you have a stable of recipes that you kind of cycle through over and over again? Or?
Well, I do, you know, because it's a daily event where I'm cooking here. So I do have things, you know, that I fall on every day. But every week, I think I come up with something new once a week. Okay. Something I am interested in. Usually they just start in, like, I start thinking about ingredients, or I start thinking about a technique, or I read something. I like to read Savor magazine. I love Savor. I love Bake magazine. I love the Food Network magazine. But at least once a week I come up with something exciting, and that keeps me motivated too. Because I like to think, I wake up and I go, I can't wait to go to work and make Valentine cream puffs today. You know, I'm excited. Or I want to make, you know, I've got, like, we had the mayor here just last Monday. So I'm excited about the fresh turbo that I have and what I'm going to do with that. And I made a nice lobster, a little lobster and chive reduction, and I served it over our cauliflower puree, and it's delicious and light. But I get excited about ingredients and techniques, and the people that come here, I get excited to cook for them. So those are the things that kind of dictate my menu.
Well, you had mentioned that you get the large events there and stuff like that. Do you usually have a lead time before there's a large event or a dignitary shows up? I mean, do they give you a couple weeks to think about stuff? And do you think about who that person is and maybe try to do something that you think that they would like? Or is it just, I don't care who they are, I'm going to make this and they're going to like it anyway?
If I have somebody special coming, I search the internet, try to find something they like, what they're known for. Michael Bloomberg, I searched all over for what he likes, and he likes comfort food. So I made him pot roast. This is the mayor, of New York, and it seems like a lowbrow food, but he loved it. And make him stuff that they wouldn't normally get, because a lot of times these dignitaries, these people, they're going and they're getting these tiny little meals, but that are kind of like there's a lot of minimalism in some from the food, but that people in luncheons that they're eating, when they go to meetings. But if you serve a nice piece of pot roast over mashed potatoes, and that's one of their favorite things, that makes an impact.
Yeah.
They're not just getting something that people think they like, but I try to research and make sure that people are coming that I know a little bit about them.
Something that they like, but it's new. It's familiar, but new.
Yeah, exactly. Or do it in a little bit of a twist.
That's good. I mean, are there any that are just sprung on you? Like last minute, do you get a lot of those? Yeah. It's like, holy crap, the president's coming tomorrow.
It always happens like that. A lot of times here, it seems like there is some planning, but yes, we do get surprises all the time.
On a surprise, what do you do? Do you try to make some time to find what they like, or do you just you have ones that are hit home runs?
Both. I do a little research, because it's so easy to research on the internet and find out stuff you need right away. Mm-hmm. And I can get food at a moment's notice. I buy most of my seafood from the Fulton Market in New York, and I could order what they have huge variety. The Fulton Seafood Market in New York has a great website, FultonSeafoodMarket.com, and when you can go on the website, you can order fish like up till midnight, and it'll be on your doorstep at 9 a.m. So if it's a surprise, I can get killer ingredients on a moment's notice.
Gotta love unions, man. Those union guys, they'll work. They'll make you pay for it, but they'll get it to you.
Like overnight, less than 12 hours, it flies to my door. So that helps me with surprises.
Very good. Seasonal ingredients in Chicago, I'm not familiar. I mean, I assume they're just like seasonal ingredients everywhere. I don't know that Chicago produces or that Illinois produces anything, but
I can't think of one.
Right. So, but I mean, are seasonal ingredients from also around the country, do you try to incorporate them? Do you use them in a lot of your creations?
Absolutely. Seasonality in cooking is one of the most important things. And I think it just comes naturally to me that as time passes, I go to these, I just go to these places that are seasonal, and the foods that I create and the menus that happen have everything to do with what season it is. It happens not only for freshness and for the best that you're going to receive of that ingredient, but also just for cultural. It just seems to flow that if you're serving something in the spring, that it reflects the spring. And it's just natural, to have, I have a natural ability to feel the seasons. I don't know, for food, for cooking. And it just seems that after 30 or 40 years, it's part of my, part of my being to flow within seasons with my cooking.
All right. Well, I mean, I like hearing that. I mean, when people say it's not important,
Well, it's an important thing, actually.
yeah, I think it is important too as well, and it helps vary your menu. You can have new things every 3 or 4 months, but so we dove into the last couple questions. We're just talking about competitions, but we've already established that you have competed. You think it's very important, and you have wins. You have how many wins under your belt? At least 3 or 4, right?
Yeah. I won the International Pizza Competition overall winner in '98. And then I won the first place category for the exotic pizza the next year for my New Orleans pizza. And that had a spicy apricot glaze with black.
Is that on the next page after the Gambirian?
Yeah.
No, because I flipped the page.
Spicy crawdads. It's so good. Again, spicy and sweet flavors. I just like that a lot. You know?
Okay.
And then I won the Mid-American competition for my Trattorian, very traditional pizza with pepperoni sausage, mushroom, green pepper, and onion. But it was a grilled pizza again, and it was real special, and I won a category. So that's actually just 3 pizza awards in the that's 3 so far. Wait, and again, I forgot one. The Jamaican pizza also won the first place category in Pizza Festiva, and the Jamaican pizza was one that I created with smoked pork, a Jamaican plum chutney, and cilantro, and yeah, that was basically the gist of it. Really good. Again, sweet and spicy. Jamaican flavors like allspice, habanero.
Yeah, I think that on the page before the Gambirian. Nope. Like I said, I've flipped through this book quite a bit, and I had lost my my pit grill, so I'm excited to get these done. But I have all my favorites bookmarked. But so yes, we've established that you do get out there, you do compete, you do win, and you win with grilled pizzas, which it's great. Not a lot of people have done that I know of. Well, I guess only one currently. So I guess what comes down to the main question I want to ask at this point, since we've covered everything else on that, is that what advice for a first-time competitor would you give to somebody, regardless of what kind of pizza they're making? But I mean, as far as competing, we know it's important. This is why you should do it. Maybe they're apprehensive or nervous about starting. What is the first thing you want to say? If you do this, everything else will just flow. But just do it. I mean, just some advice for a first.
Don't take any shortcuts. Make sure that you have confidence in your recipe, that you know it well, that you've researched it, worked it out, and done the recipe a lot, and not that you just wrote it down, and submitted. Anything you submit that you really have to have tested, make sure that you know your recipe, make sure that you're confident in the recipe, and make sure that you carry that through when you're out there in the field competing. Look confident, work confident, maintain confidence at all times. That's basically it, and that'll help you. That'll help you.
Pretend like you're supposed to be there. That's what I say when they're like, we're not supposed to go back there. I said, if you walk back there acting like you're supposed to be there, most people don't question you.
Exactly.
Some people kick you out, but it's like 1 out of 5 scale. So, but I wanted to also ask you about. I mean, you're saying know your recipe. You get up there and it's just something. You just know how to do it. Put on blinders. This is what you do all the time.
Right.
What do you think about now? This is important with a lot of competitions that I think I've seen too. I mean, I take the U.S. Pizza team to Italy every year to compete in the World Pizza Championships, and we have competitions in San Diego, Chicago, Ohio, all over the place. Different regions, different tastes. Obviously, you would know, having written the book on the United States of Pizza, how important is it to play to the judges of a certain region for the competition? Because we usually get judges from that area. I mean, is that important? I mean, you want to have your own recipe, but you want to pander a little bit?
It's really important. It's very important to sort of know who you're dealing to, and what they're going to like. But it isn't, you don't want to be pandering to that,
right.
But it's like, don't overdo it. There's a balance, I think. And I'm not exactly sure how to explain that, but there is a balance, and it's important to nod your hat to wherever they're from, or the culture, or the the things that they might enjoy, the things they're used to. But it's real important also to make sure that you surprise them. Maybe you can do something that takes what they do, but you have to be careful with that too. If you take something in Maine and you throw them a Maine lobster pizza, but you really twist it into something they would find offensive, then you have to be careful because you don't want to step on the traditions of certain places. Yeah. But if you can do a gentle tweak and surprise them, that really is good. Well, it's a little, subtle. I think it's a subtle thing.
Well, like you said, general balance. You don't want to lose your own personality from it, but you don't want to, like you said, pander to them and make it seem just like a caricature of what they're doing. And like I said, a Maine lobster pizza. Now, we had in our competition in San Diego this year, our winner, Dave Conti from Ansonia, Connecticut, Red Planet Pizza and Barbecue, won in San Diego with a Maine lobster pizza. Lobster Diavolo, lobster brother devil. I can't remember the Italian words for that. But that's California. They're very open to a lot of things like that, especially seafood on a pie. Sure. Do you think if they took a California pie to New England or tried,
Kansas City?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't work.
Right.
So don't lose yourself in it, but don't, like you said, don't
know your audience and give them things that they're going to like. You want to give yourself every advantage.
Yeah.
Without pandering and overdoing it. Right?
Great. Well, that's kind of what I've been telling my guys. I just wanted to hear from another person who has one. So, Craig, I think we've covered everything on this. It's been a very informative as far as recipes go. I couldn't keep you from talking about, I just mentioned the food and you would just go off on a recipe. So, but that's also good.
I enjoyed it very much speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for your time, Craig. Everybody, you can just stay tuned for the Chef's Corner and PMQ Magazine. We will have a video accompanying that article to show you guys how to make this Gambarian pizza on a grill. So we hope everybody gives it a shot at your homes or your restaurants if you have that kind of capability. Yes. So,
and I'll absolutely get the grilled pizzas and Piadina book and the United States of Pizza book. Both are virtual readings.
Is there somewhere they can go to get both?
Amazon.com. I think it's the easiest place, but I know that both books are being sold in stores still. They're both being sold. They're both popular. And but Amazon is the place where I shop. They have everything.
Well, I do refer to these ones quite a bit. So I do appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you giving us the time today. So I'd like to thank our audience. I'd like to thank Craig Priebe. Where are you working at again? Crown?
I work at the Henry Crown Company.
Henry Crown Company.
Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, Illinois. So Craig Priebe of Henry Crown Company in Chicago, Illinois. Thank you so much for your time. Author of Grilled Pizzas and Piadinas and the United States of Pizza, which can be found on Amazon.com. We'll see you guys next time in the Chef's Corner, but until then, keep those ovens lit.
Thanks, guys.